Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are deeply honored to welcome you tonight. I'm sure you all share my excitement and anticipation for the event. I'm Miranda from 111.
And I'm Mia from 111. Today we'll be introducing traditional games around the world.
Sounds interesting. So, who do you have today?
First, we have Sean and Jamie who will tell us about shogi and sinet.
Then, we have Wesley C. and Iron who are going to teach us about hounds and jackals and dogs and pigs.
Sounds like we have a lot of games, don't we?
Sure.
Then we have Wesley Z and Jeremy who will tell us about Fanerona and Taffel.
Sounds intriguing. I can't wait to hear about it. They will be followed by Star and Krista, who are going to tell us about slapmatch and nail tweaking.
After that, Jenny and Claire will tell us about backgammon and Kala.
Lastly, we have Ryan and Vivian to wrap things up with Go and Three Kingdoms chess.
It will be a fascinating evening, won't it?
I agree wholeheartedly. Let it begin.
Enjoy.
Hello everyone, I'm Sean.
I'm Jamie.
Now we are going to introduce Sinet.
Sinet is an ancient Egyptian board game invented 4,000 years ago. It's played by 2 players. You will need a Sinet board, 4 Sinet sticks, and 4 to 5 color-coded pieces.
To start, you have to place all the pieces on the first row of the board in an alternating pattern. You take turns by throwing the Sinet sticks in order to see how many steps you can go. There are black sides and white sides. If no white sides are faced up, you can move 5 spaces and get an extra turn. If one white side is faced up, you get to move 1 space and also get an extra turn. If there are 2 or 3, you can move 2 or 3 steps. If all are faced up, you get to move 4 and have an opportunity to roll again.
There are 5 special spaces in Sinet called houses. There's the House of Power, the House of Rebirth, the House of Waters, where you need to go back to the House of Rebirth if you come across, the House of Three Truths, where you need to roll a 3 to move on, and the House of Autumn, where you need to roll a 2 to leave. Now we're going to introduce another ancient board game, shogi. Shogi is similar to traditional Chinese chess.
Now we are going to introduce all the chess moves. A king can move 1 square in any direction. A gold general can move 1 space in any direction except diagonally back. A silver general can move 1 space in any direction except forward, left, right, or except right, left, and backward.
The knight can jump over 1 space and move 1 space diagonally. The lance can move any amount of 3 spaces forwards. The bishop can move any amount of 3 spaces diagonally. The rook can move 1 space in any direction except diagonally. And the pawn can move 1 space forward.
The farthest 3 sides on both sides are called promotion zones, where you can promote your piece to make it stronger. The promoted silver general, promoted knight, promoted lance, and promoted pawn can all move like a gold general. A promoted bishop can move like a bishop or like a king. A promoted rook can move like itself or like a king. If a piece has gone to the farthest of the board so that it doesn't have any legal moves yet, it must be promoted. Pieces will remain promoted until they are captured. You cannot share a place with your opponents. Instead, you capture them. Captured pieces are then moved off the board.
On your moves, instead of moving your pieces, you can choose to sharp a piece you captured earlier. If your king will be captured the next turn, it's called a check. If your king is in check, you have to try to get it out of the check. If you can't, it's called a checkmate. The first player to checkmate their opponent's king wins.
You are not allowed to drop a pawn immediately to form a check, but you are allowed to drop other pieces to form a check immediately. Thank you for listening.
ancient board game commentator.
And I'm Wesley, his assistant.
What are the ancient board games are going to talk about today, Wesley?
Well, today we're going to talk about the Senate and chess.
Wait. I think we should talk about some games that are more interesting.
Great idea, but I'm not really sure about that. Do you have an idea?
Yes, there are hounds and jackals, pigs and dogs.
At least it sounds delicious.
To let you guys know more about the games, we are going to take the time machine to go back in time.
In case you're wondering why you're still here, the time machine cannot take people who lack imagination.
We are now in Egypt, 1910. Wesley, you are going to introduce them the hounds and jackals. But do you really know about it?
Of course I do. There are 10 carved ivory pegs with heads resembling 5 hounds and 5 jackals, which gives the game its name. The animal-headed pegs were contained in a drawer underneath, locked by an ivory bolt. And the rules. Sorry bro, I forgot them.
The game is believed to be a simple race game.
Oh, I remember it now. 2 players take turns moving the pieces according to chess rules on one side of the board. The winner of the game is the first person to move his pieces to a designated spot. Also, the game can be dated back to 2000 BC.
Wow! Now let us go to the Turkey southeast to see the pigs and dogs. Pigs and dogs were found by archaeologist Henrik Seglen Timmer in 2012 and moved to the Batman Museum for public display.
Batman?
No, it's Batman Museum.
Then we must go to a museum to see it. Do you really know about the pigs and dogs, sir?
Yes, pigs and dogs. He's great. Oops. It is also a 5,000-year-old figurine nominated as one of the world's oldest and most crowded games, but its rules still remains a mystery.
Though they can't figure out how to play? That's too bad. Can you describe more?
There are more than 3 dozen colorful animal figurines presented on a checkered wooden board. It also sends similarly tiny artifacts in various abstract and pyramid shapes.
The stones in the back rows looks like a chessboard.
Yes, but some think it is more fun than chess. Since the pieces all have form, archaeologists are considering the game is based on force. We hope you all know more about the hounds and jackals, pigs and dogs from us. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, my name is Jeremy.
And my name is Wesley.
Today we are going to talk about 2 unique board games. The first one is Panorama. Can you tell us more about its history, Wesley?
Sure, Panorama is an ancient board game. It's a pure strategy game that can date to the 1680s. The Madagascans used to play on a smaller board. We now play on a much bigger board. Nobody knows how this game was invented. It is still popular in African countries, and it is open for divination purpose long time ago.
Yes, but it is not notable for its unusual methods of capture. Let's watch a short video about its rules.
Panorama is a game from Madagascar. It's a game of elimination, and to do so, you can capture on the attack and the retreat. For example, if you move forward, you get everything along that line of travel. Your opponent moves back away from you, and he gets everything that he moved away from. He can also do a multiple turn by taking a capture and not landing on a spot that he's previously been in. So he can continue going and capturing as many pieces as he can on his turn, as long as he doesn't sit in the same spot.
We have played Panorama before. We saw that is a very interesting game. Its rules are very easy to learn, and most of the novice players can have fun at the very beginning. That's the reason why we want to introduce this cool game. But do you know there's a much cooler game that exists? And that is Tafel.
Of course I know about it. Tafel, also known as tableau, is a family member of the ancient Northern European board games. It's played on a checkered or lattice game board with 2 armies on the even numbers. It is probably based on a Roman game people played before.
Tafel have different names, including Never Tafel and Tableau. Tafel were played in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, and even Britain.
The game Tafel is eventually replaced by chess in the 12th century, but the semi-variant of Tafel, the tableau, continued into the 18th centuries. Its rules have been written down by a Swedish naturalist in 1732, and those were translated from Latin to English in 1811.
All the modern Tafel games are based on the 1811 translation, which has many errors. The new rules were added to solve these errors.
In addition, Tafel is now also played by its original rules, which have been retranslated.
We think both games are very cool and fun, which we can discover more.
Thank you for listening.
Everyone, I'm Krista.
Hi, I'm Star.
Today we are going to talk about games from the beautiful land, Korea.
Korea is famous for its K-pop, like BTS. They're handsome.
And Blackpink, they are so beautiful.
They have delicious snacks too.
Like kimchi and spicy fried rice cake.
Also, they're K-dramas.
Yeah, I know. Squid Game, Business Proposal, Stove Leech, and many more. Speaking about the Squid Game, one of the games we're introducing appeared in it.
Really? Maybe I know it. Tell me about it.
Jack-G, as known as Black Match, is a really easy game. You only need a piece of colored paper and you fold it into a square.
How many players are in it?
There can be 2 or more players like you and me.
Yeah, maybe we can play together someday. But how do you play it?
You slap your square on your opponent to make it flip over.
How do you win?
If your opponent's square flips over, you win. Do you know what the reward of the winner is?
What?
You can slap on your opponent's face.
But I think that will break our friendship.
Wait,
What?
we have to introduce another game today.
Oh, I almost forgot. Jack-G sounds so fun.
So tell me about the other game.
Okay, this game is called No Twiggy. I remember you dreamt of flying before. This game is perfect for you.
How come?
No Twiggy is like seesaw.
Seesaw? That's so childish.
Wait, let me finish.
Okay, fine. So how do you play this game?
Each person stands on a side. A person jumps and propels the other into the air. You can show off your flying skills.
Wow, that's so cool. I was wrong about it being childish, but who developed this?
Oh, this is the most important part. It was developed by the Yongbang woman.
Yongbang woman? What does that mean?
They were the ruling class in the Chosen dynasty.
That's interesting. What kind of work did they do?
They had important jobs in the government and military.
Okay, I get it. But why did they need to develop this game?
That's because they wanted to see over walls that surrounded their homes, since Korean women weren't allowed out except at night.
I see. Don't you think these games are really interesting?
That's true.
We hope you have learned more about traditional games today.
Thanks for listening.
Hello everyone.
Today, we are going to talk about 2 ancient games.
My name is Jeannie.
I'm Claire.
The 2 games are called.
Backgammon and Mancala.
First, let's talk about backgammon. This is one of the oldest games in existence. It has 5,000 years of history and it originated in Iraq. Recent evidence supporting this was found when these very early dice, which were made of human bones, were discovered in the area. The Romans were the first to make it truly popular.
Frescoes in many Roman villages depict the game in progress. Here is an example from painting. The history of any game can be tracked by looking for reference in both art and literature. Like this painting, they are also playing backgammon. Its popularity continued through the Victorian times, and it was very popular at country house weekend parties.
However, by the early 1920s, the game was losing its attraction. Around 1925 or 1926, 2 things that would change the game forever happened at almost the same time. The first and most important event was in either New York or Boston came up with the idea of being able to double the stakes. And the second event was the arrival of the multiplayer version.
Now, not only could the stakes be doubled, but with more players, winning and losing rose exponentially. Backgammon became the perfect game in the 1920s. Let's talk about the rules of backgammon now.
Backgammon is a game for 2 players, played on a board consisting of 24 narrow triangles called points.
The home and outer board are separated from each other by a ridge through the center called the bar. Both players have their own pair of dice and a cup for shaking. The object of the game is to move all your checkers into your own home board and bear them off.
The first player to bear off all 15 checkers wins the game.
Now it's time for Makala.
The first recording of Makala took place in Gadara during the 2nd century.
The meaning of Makala is to move. The game is played on a wooden board.
You also have some beautiful little pieces that you move around the board.
Wait, beautiful? Are you talking about me?
Very funny here. They are colorful stones that look similar to marbles. Now, let's talk about the rules of Makala.
Sounds like a plan. It's pretty simple. First, you'll have the same amount of seeds or marbles in every little space. Next, drop all the seeds in one space and put them one by one into other spaces in the circle.
Then, if the last seed lands on one of your 3 little spaces and the space is empty,
take all the seeds and win the game.
Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan.
My name is Vivian.
Hey, do you like ancient games?
Of course, I love ancient games.
Today we will introduce 2 ancient games. Go, and the first one is Go.
And the second one is Three Kingdoms chess.
So let's begin. First, we are going to talk about Go.
Go, also known as Weiqi, is a chess game for 2 players. The name Go came from an earlier word We Go. The game's name in Mandarin means surrounding chess, and the goal is to surround more territory than your enemy.
Go was invented in China more than 2,500 years ago. Some said it was created by the ancient Chinese Emperor Yao. He designed this game for his son, Danzhu, to learn discipline. Go is one of the oldest games that is still being played by modern people. Over 46 million people in the world know how to play Go, and most of whom live in East Asia.
There are 2 kinds of stones on the game board, black ones and white ones. Each player uses one kind of stones. The crosses on the game board are called liberties. When all of the liberties around your stone are filled with the other player's stones, your stone gets eaten, and the other player gets 1 point. If many of your stones are connected together, but the other player surrounded all of them, then you will lose many stones all at once. When the game ends, the player with more points wins.
Playing Go has many benefits. Even though the game rules are easy, there are still many complicated tactics. By playing Go, you can improve your way of thinking and concentration. Next, we are going to talk about Three Kingdoms chess.
Three Kingdoms chess, also known as Sanguoqi, was invented in China during the Song dynasty. It is a 3-player edition of ancient Chinese chess. The concept of this game comes from the Three Kingdoms period of Chinese history. The Three Kingdoms were Wei, Shu, and Wu, each vying for control of China after the fall of Han dynasty.
The game is played on a hexagonal game board. Three Kingdoms use pieces in different colors. Wei is in blue, Shu is in red, and Wu is in green. Three Kingdoms chess has every pieces of the traditional Chinese chess, and the game rules are mostly the same. However, there are 6 more bannerman pieces. Each player owns 2 of them. Players can choose whether to play with the bannerman pieces or not. But each player has to be the same. However, no one knows how to use the bannerman pieces now.
When checkmate occurs, the general of the player who received the checkmate will be removed from the game, and the player who delivered the checkmate can get all of the pieces of the loser. Then the 2 players left keep playing till another is checkmated.
One famous variant of Three Kingdoms chess is the game of 3 friends, invented by Zheng Jinde during the Qing dynasty. Three Kingdoms Chess sounds so funny, so interesting, right? However, no one plays it now. The two Chinese texts which describe this game were both lost. Now there's another game also named Three Kingdoms Chess, but it's not the same game. Thank you for listening.
Wow, that was great! I learned so much about games I never even knew existed.
Me too. I'm sure we all learned a lot from everyone's presentations.
I think out of all those games, Senet was my favorite. What about you, Mia?
Tafo, of course. That's such a puzzling, interesting game.
Humans in all cultures play games in order to learn and practice group norms. Through games, cultural knowledge is often stored and taught to community members. And one's self-confidence and decision-making can also be influenced.
Whichever you like best, I'm sure we all enjoyed the stories and adventures those cultural aspects have brought to us. It's incredible how we can all have access to these games in the modern world.
At last, our portion of the night's presentations has come to an end.
We hope you enjoyed the evening.
As we certainly enjoy sharing this cultural knowledge with you.
Thank you.